Evening, welcome to Flashback Cup Top 16. This time we have Kingsley with Dragon versus Demagogue on Phoenix. And this is a real throwback list. If we look at Kingsley's submitted list, it is indeed the exact list he brought to 2017 Worlds, which is Phoenix Splash with a bunch of good stuff. Nothing really strange in here, really. It's a long time since I saw Card Game DB decks built. It's pretty much just good stuff in here. And Demagogue's list is Phoenix, and he has 2 Let Go, 3 Mirumoto's Fury. He's on Seeker of Void, so Kuromori and Shameful. Also running good stuff. Actually, Seeker Ishiken Initiated, that's 2 cost? Yeah, it is 2 cost. I think people vastly underrated the strength of just having conflict characters in general in core, so it would be interesting. Alright, we're about to jump into the game. Here we go. For those that just are joining, this is the Flashback Cup, which means only core set cards are allowed, but they've also removed the restricted list. So you can run both Mirumoto's Fury and Charge, for instance, and, you know, Guest of Honor, Fury and Charge. Dragon generally runs both Fury, Neat and Master, and Charge, so it's all the good stuff from core only, basically. And we see Demagogue is mulliganing 3 cards from the Dynasty deck. I'm guessing he found... It's hard to speculate. Maybe some holdings he didn't want to see, or heavy big cost characters he didn't want to play right now. Very hard to tell. Wow, Kingsley mulligan all 4. He must have found a really awful opening. So, the roles are Seeker of Void and... No, I showed the wrong one. This is Keeper of Void and Seeker of Void. So, we do have Phoenix being allowed to play both Kuromori and Shameful Display. Usually, Kuromori is under the Stronghold. And Dragon player, of course, run Keeper of Void and run Keepers and a bunch of other good stuff. Still has Restoration of Balance. Still has Neat and Master, which is also very good. And we do see a Neat and Master played with 2 Fates as the first action from Kingsley. And we see a Asako Diplomat played as the first action for Demagogue. I'm thinking he's hoping to find a conflict character or a charge or both. And we see some light dishonor pressure going on. Demagogue draws 3 and Kingsley draws 5. So we're up to 13 to 9 honor. Kingsley, of course, is looking to find those juicy weapons to just keep standing this Neat and Master. Whereas I guess Demagogue is trying to prevent Kingsley from just always drawing 5. Also, you know, light honor pressure is always pretty decent from Phoenix with the Isawa Moriseido box, which could turn dishonored characters into absolute potatoes for the opponents. By potatoes, I mean, of course, that they have basically 0 skill. Isawa Moriseido, for those that don't know it, of course, increases the glory by 2 of a character. So, for instance, if Neat and Master is dishonored, he is a 1/1 because he has 2 glory. If Isawa Moriseido is used on Neat and Master while he is dishonored, this means the Neat and Master basically becomes a -1/-1. But of course, you can only be a 0/0 in that situation. But anyway, it's a powerful tool. You cannot allow a Asako Diplomat to freely win a conflict when Isawa Morisedo is on the opposing side. And we see magnificent kimono attached to Knit and Master, which means that Kingsley is expecting to win this conflict, which is extremely interesting. Alright, so Kingsley uses his stronghold to go up to 4 and he's in a winning position, and then instantly Demagogue Banzais to go up by 4 and is now at 7 in total and winning the conflict. This would mean that the Nitan Master will be dishonored automatically with the Magnificent Kimono because of pride, and the Asako Diplomat with honor itself, basically, instead. I assume Kingsley had a plan here and expect to counter Banzai. So now Kingsley is up to 8 and is once again winning the conflict. There's no more Banzai from Demagogue, so he has to have exactly one more katana. That is pretty much the only military buff he can play here. Ooh. Wow, that's a nice exchange. So we do see a for shame from the Phoenix player bowing the Nitan. Kingsley chooses to bow rather than dishonor the Nitan Master, and then instantly attaches a fine katana to ready up the Nitan Master again. So the Nitan Master wins and is honored because of pride. And this means that if Kingsley has one more weapon, he can just stand the Nitan Master and go attack. So Demagogue has 4 conflict characters in his deck, if I counted correctly, and he only bid 3, and we've already seen 1, 2, 3 of his cards. If he has a conflict character here, it would be good for him. If not, it is indeed very bad for him. Well, Luke, obviously we did see the For Shame come out. Charge, of course, is another option. Charge would have been strong with Shiba Sukune showing. Interesting, we see Kurumori in the row for the Phoenix player. I, of course, keep forgetting about Charge being in literally every deck when it's not restricted. Thank you for pointing that out, Luke. So we see Kurumori switch the contested ring to water rather than void. Kingsley is the... Oh, that's a neat trick. So, he swaps the ring to water and then plays Display of Power to ready up his Asako Diplomat. So now he gets to do a second attack while Kingsley has expended both of his readies on the Nitan Master. And he hits Shameful. This is huge. Kingsley really need to have a conflict character here to drop in to defend against his, because this is a political conflict and there cannot be any charges. Of course, it's not too unreasonable to suspect that Kingsley has one or more Tattooed Wanderer in his hand. He does not. And currently, Demagogue is not breaking, but he does play court games, which brings him up to breaking Shameful Display. Of course, a counter court games from Kingsley would easily, once again, prevent the break here. Having a Shameful Display broken against Core Phoenix is a huge blowback. This is a province that should stomp Phoenix at every turn, usually. And we do see a Mirumoto's Fury come in to bow out the Asako Diplomat. I mean, yeah, look, now it's not breaking because he got bowed, but after the court games that was enough to break. It also would have been just nice for Kingsley in general to drop a conflict character to dishonor the Asako Diplomat, but that's a bit whatever at this point. Alright, so board is definitely in Kingsley's favor for this next turn, but the amount of times you can stand a Neaten Master is becoming rapidly limited because of, well, how many blades can you really put in your deck? 3 katanas and 3 Ancestral Daisho, so only 6 weapons. Okay, and this is not a very exciting turn for the Phoenix player buy-wise. You have 11 Fate pulled and you find Solemn Scholar and another Asako Diplomat. And of course, this Dragon player does play Assassination. Dragon used to play, I think, 2 Assassinations. I'm gonna quickly check this. There is indeed 2 Assassinations. So it is a bit dangerous to just dump a bunch of Fate onto low-cost characters at this point. That is a very real possibility, Luke. This is an awful flop going into round 2 with a bunch of Fate against an honored Neaten Master with double katanas. It is quite rough. At least Demagogue gets to draw a bunch of cards between Forgotten Library and Imperial Storehouse, so maybe he can find something to salvage this situation. More displays of power wouldn't be too awful to end up with. And we see Kingsley just play Investigator with 2 Fate. Perfectly reasonable, get to peek at Demagogue's hand. Get to make a potentially powerful political conflict. Yeah, good stuff basically. I imagine Kingsley will pass here and just gain the Fate. It is also entirely possible he will play something like Seppin Guardsman to have an extra body to defend with. Not unreasonable. Alright, so Kingsley is indeed first to pass and just gains that juicy Fate. And Demagogue is basically forced to play out the Asako Diplomat. And Demagogue just gets to draw a card from Forgotten Library. So the difference in hands are reduced by a lot here. If we have a 5-1 bid, I mean, it could potentially become interesting Dishonor-wise, but I think that's dangerous play to make from Demagogue. I think there's just going to be both players bid 5 and then equalize on number of cards through Imperial Storehouse getting sacrificed. We'll see if Demagogue can survive this turn, because he is currently up on Fate, and if he finds some, hard-hitting characters next round, stuff can begin to happen. So Kingsley's thinking hard about his bid, but he does end up bidding 5. So both just slam the 5 bid, and we're going to have 9 cards. And that's it. We get past the draw phase and into the conflict phase, and Kingsley does have the first attack option. I imagine it might be... Oh, hello. That is spicy. Way of the Phoenix gets played to prevent Kingsley from selecting the Void Ring. Now, this is a card you don't see often. It's also because it's perhaps not a very good card, but I digress. In this situation, it's okay. Oh, and Kingsley actually chose to pass his conflict opportunity. That kind of tells me that he didn't find another weapon that he can just toss on the Neaten Master. Which is almost surprising, really. I would actually perhaps... Oh, yeah, okay. So it's actually dangerous to go in any type of conflict here against 2 Asako Diplomats. If they double defend, he can just super dishonor guys on the opposing side, which is pretty rough actually. Yes, that is true, Luke. He does not want to hit meditations with Neat and Master. But then again, he could just go for Investigator then. Go for political investigator play and get to see Demagogue's hand, perhaps. Oh, then again, double Asako Diplomat defense, and if they win, that is again rough for the Neat and Master. Double Dishonored, and then he's going to get Isawa Morisato, so he basically has 0 skill, even though they're double katanas and stuff. Yeah, interesting. We do see a firing here from the Phoenix player, attacking into Manicured Gardens. And this is a military conflict. If Kingsley has a weapon here, I think he will defend with Knit and Master. Yeah. So, even though he doesn't have a weapon, he might consider attacking water with Investigator afterwards. It's interesting to see what happens. So, I don't see a world really where this Solemn Scholar wins this conflict. It's pretty much impossible. Does he actually run Display of Power? I shall double check. Yes, he does run 2 Display of Powers. And here we see what happens. So, he wins the conflict, but Cloud the Mind gets instantly played on Kitsuki Investigator. So, Investigator can't investigate. He has lost his sharp wit. He no longer can see the truth. And he does hit meditations with the Investigator, but a Clouded Investigator, you are sort of okay with hitting meditations with. Of course, Dragon does run Let Go, so you could easily find a Let Go and get rid of this Clouded Mind. And first action is to use meditation on the Dao to remove a fate from the Investigator. And now he's in a situation where the double defense from Asako Diplomat could potentially just super dishonor this Neat and Master, which is not what he wants at all. At least not what Kingsley wants at all. And here we see Onet Fan being played onto the Investigator, and in response Isawa Morisato gets played on the Asako Diplomat to increase the glory by 2 to go up 2 in skill, and then we also see the counter of Mountain Anvil Castle to go up to 7 attacking skill as well. And we do see a Supernatural Storm from Demagogue, and goes up to having 8 to defend with, and to a response to that we see a Let Go on Cloud the Mind, and instantly a new Cloud the Mind on the Kitsuki Investigator. So, actions coming fast and hard here, and it's hard to keep up really what happens. So, we do see Kingsley play Assassination here, and get rid of one of the Asako Diplomats. This is potentially fairly big here, because he goes down to 5 honor, which means next turn a 5 bid is somewhat scary. And we do see the watering go off, and to stand up the Neat and Master again. Of course, Kingsley has passed his first conflict this round, so he cannot attack again. And Demagogue just lets his second attack go, because there's no way he's beating a standing Neat and Master with 2 fine katanas and an magnificent kimono, and already honored. But it also means that Kingsley do get to claim the Imperial favor. Alright, so Kingsley's board is leaving play this turn. So his two fairly big guys have not really done much. And now it's up to Demagogue to find some big impactful guys, which he does absolutely not do. Wow, actually both players pretty much flipped complete garbage. So hey, that's the thing. The Phoenix player does play Shiba Peacemaker, and Kingsley responds with Otomo Courtier. And not buying anything here from the Phoenix player is probably a bit of a suicide, and not buying anything and also buying something gives Kingsley more faith that he can potentially find some big, strong characters for next turn. Ooh. Yeah, this is an awkward round for both players, where both players have enough stuff to make stuff happen, and they just find absolutely nothing to use the fate on. And Luke says, welcome to core, everyone. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. So, both players are floating ridiculous amounts of fate, and are we going to see a 1 to 5 bid here? Is the big question, because then we can have a situation where Demagogue is actually pushing for dishonor. So Kingsley doesn't quite have the... I almost want to say balls to go for the 5 bid here, but let's face it, he was down to 5 honor. Going for 5 bid here is risky, so he goes for the 3 bid, and Demagogue goes for the 1 bid. Kingsley also has an Imperial Storehouse, so he gets to draw one more card out from that, but he really needs to start looking at winning the Air Ring here. Of course, he kind of also wants to win the Void Ring because he has a Keeper showing, and well, 2 Fate on the Void Ring, get a Keeper in, and then go for Air maybe. Even bait the Phoenix player into going for Air, and Display of Power it. Wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, if Kingsley has a Display of Power here, I would just 100% not defend and go, yeah, I'll display this, no problem. I'll get the Fate of Manicured Gardens, and then Display of Power this, and just go up to 4 honor, which is okay, and then go for Void myself. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Kingsley does not defend. He gains 1 Fate from Manicured Gardens. And Demagogue pass, and we're going to see the Display of Power here from Kingsley. I can pretty much guarantee this. We do not. We see the Tattooed Wanderer get dropped in instead. And in response to this, Demagogue plays Banzai. Because now he doesn't have to worry about Display of Power anymore. And we do see a Fury to counter this. And again, against the Waves to counter the Fury. So, we're back to the same situation again. Demagogue is winning the Air Ring against a conflict where Kingsley actually defended. Interesting. Does Kingsley have any more tricks up his sleeve? He would need... try to waste weapons, move something in to help defend, or play a Banzai of his own. Then he is really low on honor and he can't go for the Air Ring himself, which is scary. And Kingsley is thinking about this. I do imagine still that once this conflict is over, Kingsley is going to go for the Void Ring with Neat and Master, Military on Meditations, probably. and then just go political with the investigator somewhere new. And that would be... If he managed to dodge Shameful, that would be perfectly fine. So, we're still waiting for Kingsley to make a decision about whether to pass or play some more into this conflict. He shouldn't really want to play any weapons. Oh, he does move the Tattooed Wanderer out, so this sort of indicates that he actually does have the display of power. If he doesn't have the display of power, this is a ballsy move. I'm gonna have a quick peek at Demagogue's provinces because I'm interested. So Shameful, Rally. So Rally is under the stronghold. Dragon doesn't really care about Rally. So, display of power does get played. Kingsley does go up to 4 honor. And now he gets to attack. I would honestly attack Void here. Oh, he goes for Earth. That's risky, but guess it makes sense. Get rid of cards from Demagogue and draw cards himself. I probably feel that Earth display from Demagogue here is more powerful than a Void display might be. We do see a Shiba Peacemaker defend, of course, because it's a pretty big military body for one. Of course, it can only defend. And so it's 9-4 currently. And Kingsley can easily go up to 11. So he is very much breaking right now. But Demagogue Banzais to go up to 8. So now we have 8-9. So Kingsley needs to have a bit more skill to do stuff. Does he Banzai here himself? Does he have Banzai? Is he a Tattooed Wanderer? Tattooed Wanderer and the Stronghold is enough to break. I'm a bit suspicious that he didn't just Tattooed Wanderer on the Neaten Master and convert the Peacemaker instead. Like, spontaneously that seemed like a better play. I'll guess favorable ground. Makes sense. And he's saving Stronghold for another conflict. Smart. He puts down an Ancestral Daisho on the Wanderer. He will get that Daisho back at the end of this turn. Which is really cool. Alright, so he assassinates the Tattooed Wanderer, but he does get to have the Daisho back. How will he do this? So he just passes for the win here. He doesn't want to fight over the break. So he gets the Earth Ring, which is actually pretty big in this situation. And Indomitable Will. Okay. So Neaten Master gets to make another attack. And Demagogue randomly discards Charge. That is actually pretty huge. Oh yeah, he's just going to steal the fate of the Void Ring. Oh, and he finds Resto! Oh, he doesn't have to worry about Resto for the rest of this game. That is huge. Well, Charge could potentially not matter with the 9 Fate Bank, but if he flips something like, I don't know, what's even good? Radiant Orator, Sukune, and something other big. Maybe that cost 4. I can't even remember core 4 cost Phoenix. It must have been bad. Alright, chat, help me out. What was the core 4-cost Phoenix card? Ah! Void Granny. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, Fearsome Mystic didn't even really see much play in... didn't even really see much play in course, but Atsuko is of course a really solid card actually. Ooh, going in for fire here is definitely risky if you... I mean, you could definitely eat a display of power here, but it doesn't really matter at this point what the display of power hits. Okay, so Kingsley goes in with 8 political skill, and we do see a defense from Demagogue. For Demagogue here to have a chance, I think he needs to have court games and then Isava Moriseido onto his naive student. So Kingsley breaks meditations. He did not forget to investigate. The investigator has Cloud the Mind attached to him. So the investigator does not see the truth anymore. He has not polished his shiny head to reflect the truth. He is just... It's just cloudy. Okay. So we do see Kingsley being up on breaks, but he is somewhat down on board, and he is down on fate. And Phoenix flops another garbage flop. I imagine Kingsley is very, very happy with his outcome. This flop is terrible for the Phoenix player. Holy... Yeah, this is... I think the Phoenix player is going, what is even going on? Yeah, that flop was awful. When you have 18 fate, you don't want to see double holding naive student Asako diplomat. Wow. I think this is probably the most unlucky Phoenix player I've ever seen. It is, of course, potential so that Kingsley could actually have one more assassinate, and he now can afford to use one more assassinate. Assassinating this Asako diplomat would indeed be a pretty nice thing to get done. And is he going to find shameful or not? He does find shameful. Alright, so this means that Demagogue is probably going to win this conflict. And this means the Asako diplomat can actually get the ability off. Unless, of course, Kingsley has assassination. Then he can easily assassinate the Asako diplomat, and then he doesn't even have to worry about winning or losing this conflict. Alright, shameful display. He honors the Asako diplomat and dishonors the keeper initiate. Makes sense. Are we going to see the assassinate? I should really have like a drum roll soundbite that I can play in situations like this. Is he going to try and push to break this? What could the Phoenix player play? Well, he could have For Shame. He could have Court Games. He could have Supernatural Storms, which will actually do nothing. So Court Games and For Shame are really the cards to look out for here. And Ornette fans, obviously. Yes, Phoenix is on Dragon Splash. So he could have Fury. And Kingsley Sacrifice, favorable ground to move in Otomo Courtier. And in response, Isawa Moriseido gets used. And we see a magnificent kimono on the Otomo Courtier. Intriguing. I think in this situation, Demagogue can probably go toe to toe with all the cards that Kingsley plays here. I imagine we could see a counter Court Games here from Kingsley. Anyone the Phoenix chooses to dishonor would be... Okay, so Kingsley actually chose to honor his own character. I'm not entirely sure I agree with this. Unless he's going to assassinate, I definitely don't agree with this. Removing honored status from the Phoenix characters are way more important than having honored characters yourself, in my opinion. Because of the box. Okay, are we going to see let goes from Kingsley now? He should have found some let goes by now. Is this worth let going? I mean, we've already seen Double Cloud. Okay, so we see an Ancestral Daisho go down on the Otomo Courtier. So we're going to see the Stronghold get used here. Yeah, Kingsley's already used one let go, that is true. But we've also seen double clouds from the Phoenix player. Alright, so he assassinates the Otomo Courtier. Smart. Are we going to see a counter assassinate from Kingsley here? Nope, we are not. Okay. That was a very good conflict for the Phoenix player. I would put him firmly ahead now, and he's bound to find some actual gas in his Dynasty deck next turn. It would be ridiculous if the Phoenix player did not find anything worth buying next turn. Will the Phoenix player put down a conflict character here, or will he just pass and defend Kingsley's conflict first and then drop a conflict character to attack with? I think I like that play better. Because if you have something like the Ishiken Initiate, that would be so much better if he just waited for Kingsley to attack first. Alright. We will see. It's kind of ballsy to drop stuff like with 3 Fate on them when Kingsley could still have Assassinate. Although I guess maybe you're not so afraid of Assassinate at this point. Maybe also you made the read that if Kingsley had an Assassinate, he would have used it in that previous conflict. I probably certainly would have. I don't think Kingsley can defend this. Maybe. We have seen 2 Banzais. 1 charge. Hey, 3 Banzai. 3 Banzai is gone from the Phoenix player, and Kingsley has expended 1 Banzai, and Kingsley actually have the honor now to expend on Banzais. But Kingsley will be giving up his attack this turn. Oh, so Kingsley does play against the waves to bow out the Ishikin Initiate. So that's 1 against the waves, and we have seen 1 against the waves from the Phoenix player. And the Phoenix player is just gonna, go, you know what? I don't care. Take it. So the Phoenix player is going to have a massive board for the next couple of turns, and he still has Banked Fate. He just needs to find something big now. Something big that he can play, that can stick, that can have constant effect on the board state. And I guess I would try to attack here with Retsugu. I could imagine him using Banzai to buff it up and then duel off the 1 fate from the Peacemaker. And go for a, I don't know, Void Ring? Air Ring? Water Ring? We do see a Tattooed Wanderer go down now to convert the Shiba Peacemaker. Are we going to see a Void or a Water to have something to defend with? Or a Air to try and go for the Dishonor? No, we're going to see a Void Ring. Going for Shameful Display and converting the Peacemaker. So Retsugu currently needs 1 more skill. 1 more skill to break this province. And we see a Fine Katana go down, so now he has enough to break Shameful Display. And the response is, of course, Muramoto's Fury to bow out Retsugu. Which I'm guessing the Phoenix player is fine with. Alright, and there's nothing more from Kingsley. And I'm guessing we're probably going to see nothing more from Demagogue. Yeah, so Demagogue does get to claim the favor. Demagogue have a massive board. Demagogue is now down on honor though. He is 1 down on cards, and he desperately needs something big enough worth investing in from his dynasty. This might be... Oh, and we do see a couple of characters definitely worth investing in here. I would indeed say that we will probably see both Isawa Atsuko and Adept of the Waves get played here for Demagogue. Fantastic stuff. Finally, he can have a board to play with. In fact, he's a little bit of a monster, and he can avoid Shameful Display for the rest of this game, just going for Rally and Restorations. I imagine we're actually still going to see Adept of the Waves get played here from Demagogue. It wouldn't be a bad play. I guess we also can see him pass for Fate. Okay. So Kingsley draws 5 and Demagogue draws 2. So Kingsley now has a big hand advantage again, but he is also somewhat down on honor now, even though he's nowhere near danger zone. I imagine we would see... Yeah, this is actually difficult. I have no idea what we will see here from Demagogue actually. Maybe Void, just straight away Void political into, I don't know, Rally maybe, and I don't know. Atsuko triggering from home to have a very strong board. It will be interesting for sure. Alright, and we are going to see a political conflict with the Void Ring. So I wasn't entirely off in predicting what was going to happen. I need to go for Rally to the Cause. Of course, if he wins this, he can dishonor the Neathen Master, which would be pretty helpful. We do know he still has a Daisho in hand. So he can ready the Neathen Master at least once. And having the Neathen Master dishonored is therefore a good thing. So, Kingsley's deciding whether he wants to defend this or not. I could see this being defended by Neathen Master and Doom Shigenya. If Kingsley has a court games, he could court games the Neathen Master, and if Demagogue tries to counter court games, he can dishonor the Doom Shigenya. Maybe he has he has a fan or something he can stick on the Neathen Master as well. Maybe he wants to feign with the Raitsuga and try to duel some of this one. The Psycho Diplomat basically is the only one he can duel. There are a lot of avenues that might be considered here. Worth noting is that the only character that can be furied in this conflict is the Psycho Diplomat, because the Psycho Diplomat only has one glory. Display of power does indeed trigger keepers, yes. Because you claim the ring, and when you claim the keepers trigger off claiming the ring. You can actually look at display of power as well. Yeah, part of the effect of display of power is claiming the ring, and the keepers are a reaction of claiming the ring. He runs 2 display of powers. Oh, wow. He does a full defense? That is interesting. I guess he's counting on having Neathen Master standing to defend the next conflict. But wow, that is a huge... that is committing a lot of people to this conflict to defend. Oh. Is it even going to be enough? Maybe if he has assassination, it's enough. But wow, yeah, this is... oh, if Demagogue has let go to get rid of this Cloud Mine on his own character... Wow. If he actually has let go to get rid of a Cloud Mine on this character, Kingsley cannot Cloud the Mind again, because then he won't afford to stand the Neathen Master. Because we've seen 2 katanas are already gone, so all weapons left cost 1 fate. Oh, that's potentially huge. He needs this 1 fate to stand the Neathen Master up. We do know he has an Ancient Daisho in his hand. But wow, this Phoenix board is starting to get ridiculous, honestly. I'm a bit surprised that Demagogue hasn't found any let goes. I mean, he runs 2, so they could very well be in the bottom. So, Retsugu does have 3 plus 2 minus 1 plus 2. 5, 7, 6 versus... yeah, okay, 5 versus 3, I was off. How was I off? How was I so off? 2 plus 2 plus 2. Wait. How does he only have 5? Am I missing something here? Did he not use Mountains and a Castle on Raitsugu? Was this used on Raitsugu? Okay, yeah. Yes. Sawamori Seido was actually used to give Raitsugu minus +2 glory. And we do see Raitsugu winning this conflict. Not winning the conflict, winning the duel. And then we see the second and last assassination discarding the native student. And that means Kingsley actually wins this conflict on defense and gets to get in 2 keepers. That is a huge conflict for the dragon player. Now he has a board. We know he can stand an Eaten Master twice now because he has 2 fate. So he could potentially drop an Ancient Daisho and then drop another Ancient Daisho. Or he could just play Daimyo's Favor and make them cost 0 because that's the thing that Dragon did in core. I forgot that Daimyo's Favor is a very nice card that Dragon definitely used to play. Are we going to see the Daisho ready in Eaten Master now? That's quite aggressive. We are going to see it. So, I'm guessing we're going to see Eaten Master attack into Manicured Gardens now. And try and break Manicured instead of going to bash his head against Shameful here. Wow. This also turns off Fury pretty much if he goes for the Manicured Gardens attack now. He kinda doesn't want the Shiba Peacemaker to defend because 4 military strength to get over is a bit much, but would he go political here after attaching a Daisho? Yeah, we will see. Which ring would he go for? It's a big question. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for either air or fire. Fire to honor up the Eaten Master and have a big beat stick, or air to just stave off the dishonor pressure here. Oh, this will be a very key conflict, I think. Not for the game necessarily, but for this round. The good thing for the Phoenix player is he never has to worry really about provinces again against Dragon. Because all of the provinces are basically harmless now. And we do see Kingsley go for Manicured Garden, and we do see him going for fire, so he wants to keep his Eaten Master nice and big to utilize the standing repeatedly here. And we see a Shiba Peacemaker defense here from Demagogue. I imagine Kingsley has a second Daisho in hand, so he can stand and defend with an Eaten Master. It wouldn't be too outrageous to see that. And then he can defend militarily with Eaten Master as well. So he currently only goes in with 5 military skill. And we see basically a full defense from Demagogue. Wow, that is 4, 8, 9, 10 military defensively. Alright, so 9. He leaves the Solemn Scholar outside of it. How am I miscounting this so badly? I must be getting tired. Alright, he defends with 8 skill. Ignore my tired ramblings. So Demagogue of course uses Manicured Gardens to gain a fate. He is currently up by 3 military strength. The Stronghold is already used for the Dragon player. He could of course use Banzai. He really does not want to attach more weapons right now. Because he wants to save them to ready. So it's Banzai or just letting go of the conflict. And he just lets go of the conflict. And now we do get to see Demagogue attack again. I imagine we're going to have Ishikate Initiate or even just a Solemn Scholar attack. Probably water. Water wouldn't be bad. Or, I mean, earth would be perfectly fine as well. Air wouldn't be bad either. Air is actually pretty scary for Kingsley at this point. How many assassinations have we seen from Demagogue? 2. Does he run a 3rd? No, he only runs 2. Okay. So, there's no easy win here for Demagogue. Unless Kingsley just completely screws up and doesn't defend his conflict at all. Are we going to see Solemn Scholar or something? Oh, we see a second Daimyo's Favor attached to Neat and Master. So we're definitely going to see Neat and Master ready again. And for free again. So Daimyo's Favor bows, reducing the cost of the next attachment, and we're going to see an Ancestral Die Show. In 3, 2, 1, there we go. And Neat and Master stands. Okay. Now it's up to Demagogue to decide whether to attack or save his bodies for defense. I probably would poke here. Any ring really, like the water ring to threaten to ready Atsuko. Air ring to threaten Dishonor. Earth ring to threaten having Solemn Scholar online. Anything really. Alright, so we do see an air ring going in. Military air with both. Now this is interesting. This is really interesting. Kingsley might just perhaps defend with a Keeper Initiate and then swing all in political, but that sort of implies that Demagogue has another Ishikate Initiate to drop from hand, and that would be big while defending. I mean, reasonably big, at least a 4/4. That would probably be enough to stop Neat and Master and a single keeper from winning the conflict at least. One thing to keep in note is that, keep in mind really, is that Demagogue does run 1 Seeker of Knowledge. So if Kingsley drops to 1 honor, he could easily be baited into losing a conflict where the Seeker of Knowledge gets played into the middle of it. Which is really interesting mind games if it ever comes to that. And we're seeing here if Kingsley wants to defend or not. So this attack actually do suggest that we have a couple of options for Demagogue. Right, either he has Against the Waves, or he has another Ishiken Initiate in his hand. Or he has a combination of these two and Furies to stop the counterattack. And we do see a display of power getting played. Wow. And that means Kingsley goes back up to 3 honor rather than 0. Whew. Scary stuff. Alright, everything is pretty much going to come down to whether Kingsley can break on this political attack. Really. Alright, so we see Earn Against the Waves to ready Ishiken Initiate, so at least Demagogue had one of the options I was talking about. It would be pretty horrendous if he didn't have any of them. But then again, Demagogue is a very good player, so I would imagine he played his turn keeping this very much in mind. So we go in with 5 political skill and we're going to have a defense of 4. I'm not entirely certain that Kingsley can overcome this. It's going to be very expensive to overcome this. In fact, it would put it nearly impossible for Kingsley to break this conflict. He doesn't have any assassinations left. Yeah. This is... Alright, so here Against the Waves to bow the Ishiken Initiate. Now we need another Against the Waves from Demagogue. And we don't see it! Oh wow! Kingsley breaks Manicured Gardens. He is on the stronghold. And we do know that the stronghold is Rally. And Dragon does not give 2 flying fucks about Rally. Excuse my language. Wow. That is interesting. Can Phoenix hold? Is the big question now. Because Kingsley is going to be first. Slamming into Rally. With basically everything. Oh, wow. Yokuni. Yokuni. That is big. I imagine we're even going to see the Doom Shigenya played as well. And are we going to see just a poke at first to trigger out the... Or are we just going to see the all-in? Oh, this is going to be a rough turn for the Phoenix player. A really rough turn for the Phoenix player. Can he even trigger Radiant Orator? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's going to be rough. And this is only during air conflicts. Wow. Scary stuff. So much glory. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Yeah, he needs to, as strange as it sounds, poke with a Doom Shigenya in order to have a big military slam into this stronghold with everything else. Oh wow. This is going to be a really, really interesting turn. I wonder if Kingsley perhaps is thinking about just going all in. I don't think he can win politically though. I really don't think he can win politically. He probably should just poke water with a Doom Shigenya politically, and then just go ham with everything else on the second conflict and go in militarily. I think that might be it. He has enough honor to bonsai if he has it. Ooh. Ooh. Kingsley definitely is in the danger zone now with regards to honor, though. He has on 3 honor and only had 2 cards in hand versus the 9 honor 6 cards from Demagogue. Are you? Oh. So Kingsley has to be really careful here. If he pokes with the Doom Shigenya, he will lose 1 honor during the next conflict. So if he takes an unopposed heir, oh wow, this is actually really okay. So his fine honor wise now is all about the board and cards instead. I think Demagogue probably could have afforded to draw 1 card in this situation. Alright, so here's what I imagine. I don't know, obviously, what Demagogue had in his hand, but looking at the board state, right? You have Demagogue, and you can basically ward off any political attack on the stronghold, right? I don't think... Yeah, Kingsley has seen 1 fan, so the maximum he can do is 2 fan and then stronghold for +6. That's the maximum he can put into the conflict. No, false. He can put in +8 because he can afford 1 Kizuki's method. False. If he has Neat and Master into the conflict, he can afford basically as many Kizuki's method as he wants. Ignore me. It's hard to know exactly how much extra skill Kingsley can get because it's just too much possibilities. Anyway, I think, regardless of this, I really do think that Demagogue could have held pretty much any political attack on the stronghold. And therefore could have dared to bid 1, because if he can hold the political attack, he can just force King... but then next turn Kingsley might just win. Basically, what my thinking is, if you force Kingsley in a situation where he can't win a political attack, he has to poke to make Rally flip the conflict. And if he pokes to make Rally flip the conflict, the next time he attacks, he can use Meddling Mediator to just sap 1 honor out of him, right? So this means you should attack back into Kingsley after you defend the first initial conflict, and he has to defend this, especially if you go for air, right? So he has to defend with something and actually win it as well, and that means he probably can't win this turn. But of course, drawing extra cards is going to make this perhaps even easier. Oh, this first conflict is probably going to be all or nothing. This is really scary. The thing is here, you really cannot go for the airing here. Going for the airing here is pretty much killing your entire board. Oh wow, this is going to be a very interesting conflict. Alright, so no Void Rings. So Demagogue's board is going to be alive for the next round. All of it. Except whatever Resuga jewels off. Ugh. Interesting stuff. And both players take in their sweet time deciding what to do. And Kingsley does decide to poke with Keeper Initiate onto, and he knows this is Rally. So the reason I think this might be a mistake is because now Demagogue can quite easily go above Kingsley in total glory present when you don't have a Keeper Initiate providing 2 glory, which means Radiant Orator can just send a guy home during the second conflict. And this means the Meddling Mediator will just sap an honor, and next turn the Meddling Mediator will probably just sap an honor, and then you have a situation where it's quite dangerous again for Kingsley when it comes to honor. If I were to defend this, I would do it with the Ishikin Initiate. Yeah, if I were to defend this, I would do it with the Ishikin Initiate. Due to, it's not going to get much bigger, it's going to be 0 glory, so it doesn't provide extra stuff with regards to the Radiant Orator. Alright, we see the Meddling Mediator actually defend. Which is actually a smarter idea. Pretty much in general, because it's big on political. Kingsley's not going to make another political. It has 0 military, so it's not going to be help defending militarily other than providing glory for Radiant Orator. Alright, this is a better play, ignore me. This also forces Kingsley to expend cards to win this conflict. I'm not sure Kingsley cares. I think Kingsley's pretty happy about just letting this one go. He's no longer under any sort of dishonor pressure, so I think this is fine, just letting this one go. Save all your stuff for the military conflict instead. We do know that there's no Banzai from the Phoenix player. There could be up to 2 katanas. There could be charges, but charges are not really that great at this moment. I do think that we're probably going to see a counterattack by the Solemn Scholar to try and probably on Earth Ring. If he wins it, it doesn't matter if it gets dueled off by Raisuga, and if he wins it, he can get to Bauer and a guy attacking. So, alright, here we see. Demagogue actually does not defend the conflict, okay? So, if Kingsley has fans, and if Demagogue doesn't have let goes, we could see Kingsley just win here. But he does not expend any cards. So, he gets to win the A-Ring. Do we see a display of power? I think this was probably a mistake, display of power in this. It's not impactful. Not really. So, if I were to theorize what's going to happen next, I would probably see the Solemn Scholar attacking alone on Earth onto Raleigh. If he can force a defense, great. If he doesn't force a defense, you take the ring, great. Yeah, I think that's pretty much perfect. Problem is going to be Raitsuga and Yukuni both dueling stuff. Actually, right, oh wow, Yukuni can copy Atsuko. But we did see Way of the Phoenix get played on the Void Ring for exactly this reason, I guess. Makes sense. Yeah, I definitely think it is okay here. Maybe even attack with a Meddling Mediator. Politically, Earth with a Meddling Mediator here I think is probably fine to do. To force some sort of response from Kingsley. Of course, the response will probably just be Doom Shigenya with the help of Favor. Yeah, this is hard, but I feel that probably it's correct to poke with something here from Demagogue's standpoint. And it does become a poke with... Alright, the Ishiken Initiate, that's fine. He basically just wants all the glory available to have Radiant Orator do something. And it is the Earth Ring to sort of try and force a defense here, otherwise the Solemn Scholar will do stuff. And Demagogue is still thinking if he actually wants to make this conflict. Oh, and he switches over to... Oh wow, this is actually a pretty big conflict now. And now it's not enough to just defend with the Doom Shigenya. On the other hand, is this enough when Kingsley come knocking on military on the stronghold? Hard to tell, hard to tell. It's very possible that Kingsley has the last Daisho in hand, so bowing Nitan Master or Yokuni might not have any impact, because he can just stand them with a Daisho. In that case, bowing the Nitan Master is the right play. If you had to choose, I think. Then at least you force him to discard one of the Daishos off from the game. Alright, so we do see this is the conflict. The political Earth Ring attacking Rally to the Cause with both Ishiken Initiate and Meddling Mediator. This is a skill of 5. Will we see any defense from Kingsley here? He can, after all, sort of afford this province to let go if he thinks he can win on the swing back. Oh, one thing that I actually didn't realize. If he lets this conflict go and attacks in, he could first action use Meddling Mediator to steal the last fate off of Kingsley and then bow Yokuni with the Solemn Scholar. And then Yokuni cannot copy Nitan Master and play an Ancestral Daisho on himself to ready, because he can't afford it unless he has a 3rd Daimyo's Favor. Does he run 3 Daimyo's Favor? Let's have a look. He only runs 2 Daimyo's Favor. So that is a potential line of play here that is very interesting. Right, so we're still waiting for Kingsley to decide on defenders. There's not really much to speak about here. So the next big conflict is going, the really deciding conflict is going to be the next one. And right now we can just have a quick look over it. If Kingsley doesn't defend with anything, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 glory against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plus box, 8 glory. If he can play an against the waves to, for instance, never mind, he can already initiate. If he can play the Seeker of Knowledge into this conflict, he can go up to 9 and he can send someone home. If you just count military skill, on this side we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against, well, 2, 4, 5, 7, so 11, 12, 17, 18. Potential to go up to 20. So Kingsley is currently breaking and winning. And if he wins the Earth Ring, he can bow one character. And maximum skill he can bow is going to be Yukuni. Because if he bows Neat and Master and Kingsley has the last Daisho, he can just ready him up again. Other things to consider. 4 shames. How many 4 shames is Demagogue sitting on? Let's see how many he plays. 2. So he could have a maximum of 1 for shame. This is going to be a rough conflict. Oh, we do see a big defense. So, this tells me that Yukuni will copy Neat and Master. Or not. Maybe he has an Against the Waves. Yes, we could... actually, does Kingsley play 3 Against the Waves? Yes, he does. So, we could potentially see Kingsley ready with Against the Waves. We could, of course, then see potentially Against the Waves from the Phoenix player to rebow Yukuni. Of course, I would wait to do this until they're in the conflict, simply because otherwise, Yukuni can copy Neat and Master and attach Daisho to himself. And ready. But if he waits until inside the conflict, he can steal the last fate from Demagogue. No, from Kingsley. And then Kingsley cannot afford to stand Yukuni with an ancient Daisho. Not ancient, ancestral. Wow, I am mixing up stuff all over the place right now. Alright, so currently Demagogue is winning this conflict. Does Kingsley have anything? Alright. Ornate Fan attached to Doom Shigenya. Lost for Shame is gone for Demagogue. Does he have the last Against the Waves? Court games. He does have court games. That's enough to bring him up to winning again. Do we have a counter for this? Kingsley does not want to use Mountain's Anvil Castle for this conflict. Not at all. Does he have another Ornate Fan? Does Demagogue have any let goes? These are the questions that needs to be answered. Those are going to be pretty crucial for this conflict. Oh wow, we do see Mountain's Anvil Castle bowing to give Doom Shigenya extra skill. I think Kingsley are slowly creeping down to not having the ability to break anyone. Alright, so we gotta see let goes now. There's no way Kingsley cannot waste let goes here if he wants to survive this turn. What is he afraid of? Katanas. Phoenix player may have many katanas to defend the military conflict. 2, at least. But that can be countered by Banzai from Kingsley. Has he done the requisite math? Can he break on military on the swing back? Will this game go under 3 hours? I have no idea. We're currently halfway point to 3 hours. So, please, no. Okay. There really isn't much to say because this conflict is pretty much inconsequential. Okay, so we do see an Ancestral Daisho ready to catch Yukuni. Now this means that if Demagogue have the last Against the Waves, he has probably stopped Kingsley from breaking this turn. I mean, he's pretty much guaranteed to stop Kingsley from breaking this turn. In fact, he doesn't even need the last against the waves because Kingsley can't afford to play against the waves on Yukuni. So I don't think I see a world where Kingsley breaks this. Surely he can't have enough. He has 3, 7, 9, 4, 13, which could probably go down to 11 against 2, 3, 4, 7. And that is not enough. He does not have box. A Banzai is potentially enough to break here if Demagogue doesn't have the last 2 katanas. If Demagogue has the last 2 katanas and Kingsley has the last 2 let goes, it's enough to break. If Demagogue have supernatural storms, even a single one, that means it's not enough to break. I don't think Kingsley wins this turn. I think this is going to be another turn, at least. And there's no more readying of Yokuni or Neaten Master. No more. In fact, while these players deliberate about their next move, I'm going to grab a glass of water. I will be right back. And we're back! I now have a very nice glass of cool water for the rest of this game. Right, so Kingsley chooses to pass his second conflict opportunity. I imagine we're going to see an all-in return for the Phoenix player. He can in fact use the Radiant Orator to send a character home now. And can probably break off of this. In fact, not attacking all in here for the Phoenix player I think is a mistake. Potentially. That will at least put them on this on both on the stronghold. I will have a quick look at what stronghold province is for ancestral lands. So military conflict is basically needed to break Dragon Stronghold. Okay. Well, the players are taking their sweet time. This is because, of course, this is quite a difficult board state to navigate. But I think that probably the correct play here from Demagogue is just to go all in. on any ring, really. And then use the Radiant Orators. Alright, so how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he can instantly send home the Neat and Master. A Neat and Master will not be providing its skill. The Retsugu will be, after the Neat and Master gets sent home, the Retsugu will be lowered in skill by the use of Isawa Moriseido. This means the Retsugu basically has no skill at all. Maybe he can Banzai to duel something, but you don't really care about this. If you have katanas, which he do, and if you have a second katana, I think this is enough to break Rally to the Cause. In fact, I'm fairly certain of it. So it's all about, does he have the balls to attack all in? And he does. Yes, Demagogue, you are a man of my liking. Do this, go all in, don't hold back. Full attack, 9 military skill. I imagine full defense from Kingsley is going to come in. Radiant Orator, first action, will send home the Nathan Master. After this, the Isawa Moriseido will get bowed to lower the skill of Mirumoto Retsugu. Probably a response to this from Kingsley will be to play Banzai. This will be his second to last Banzai. This will bring the Mirumoto Retsugu up to, let's see, 4 minus 2 is 2. And then plus 4 is 6. So 7 total skill. So 7 total skill against 9. He needs a second katana to break. Unless Kingsley has let go. Anyway, you're probably winning the conflict. You're probably warding off the Neat and Master. And it's a good play. It's a good play. You are giving up the Imperial favor. But let's face it, you probably weren't going to claim it anyway. So, I think that the Phoenix player will win, at least, perhaps even break. If Kingsley doesn't have Banzai, he's screwed. If Kingsley does not have Banzai, he is definitely screwed. This province is breaking. Of course, Retsugu might duel something off. Whatever. You do get to break a province, win the Void Ring, get rid of Nathan Master, and feel pretty darn good about next turn. I am tempted to tell them that I didn't want the 3-hour game in the chat. Slightly tempted. I gotta agree. It's getting a tiny bit ridiculous now, in my opinion. But, I mean, the game is definitely 100% live. Both players are jockeying for position for sure. I don't know why Retsugu defends this at all. So 4 to 4. He just bid like 2 here. No, 4 to 3. You bid 2 here as Demagogue, right? You can't afford to bid more than that. Otherwise, alright, so basically Kingsley has realized he can't defend this. So Kingsley's just gonna grab the Imperial Favor for next round. I think you definitely bid 2 here with Radiant Orator. If Kingsley wants to bid 5 to make sure, or at least 4 to make sure, you take the 2 honor and are okay with the Radiant Orator losing a fate. I mean, it sucks. Definitely it sucks, but... Yeah, Sinchling, you are completely correct. I'd even say that. Oh wow, Kingsley, Demagogue actually revealed a bit of 3. Neat. Alright, so Kingsley actually has to pay 2 honor for that. Huh. And in return, Fearsome Mystic gets to remove a fate from Retsugu and then gets sent home. Okay, that was a neat play. That was a neat play. So Isamu Morsedo on to Fearsome Mystic to give 2 extra glory and then remove a fate from Retsugu and then it's sent home. So, alright, Retsugu, you got to remove a fate from the Radiant Orator and Fearsome Mystic got to remove a fate from you. Thank you very much. I think here that he should probably still kill off the Niten Master. Oh, do you kill the Retsugu here? I mean, the Niten Master cannot stand anymore. Sure, he's big with those 2 Daishos. But maybe you just discard the Retsugu. Oh, he does discard the Retsugu. Yeah, that is huge. That is actually pretty big because now Yukuni cannot copy Retsugu. Niten Master cannot stand. Niten Master cannot stand. Yukuni cannot, potentially cannot stand. He could have Against the Ways. It's going to be an interesting turn next turn for sure. Radiant Orator sucks to lose, especially with a Fine Katana attached. Fine Katana is going to be pretty crucial for the end of this game. Indeed, this Atsuko is going to be pretty crucial because I imagine just Togashi Yukuni is going to copy Atsuko now at every turn instead. And basically Demagogue needs to find some big stuff to play again. Or something worth playing. Maybe Sukune. I don't think Sukune would be awful in this situation. In fact, I think Sukune would be pretty good. Sukune cannot be copied by Yukuni either, because it's... when Yukuni can copy her, her effect has already happened, and if he copies her in the conflict phase, it expires before he can do anything about it. Alright, so he can dupe Atsuko, Radiant Orator again. Nice. I think even this Shiba Peacemaker will get played because it's an excellent defense against the might of the dragon coming at the Phoenix player right now. Yeah, Sinchling has a very good point. Kingsley is now down to 3 honors. That means Kingsley cannot reasonably afford to bid anything more than 2. Especially not with a meddling mediator on the field. So, I think we're going to see... Oh, please play the Radiant Orator. The Radiant Orator is actually going to be... Yes, okay, here we go. So, I think Yukuni and Retsugu are definitely going to be the big things here. Dueling stuff off the table. And if that's not enough, I think the Phoenix will take this. The problem is Phoenix will have to break... Really has to break on military, because there's an ancestral lands under the Dragon Stronghold. Oh, Mia Mystic. Oh, that's neat. You can get rid of Daishos. I would probably get rid of the one of Yukuni. Yeah, get rid of the Daisho of Yukuni and then dishonor his ass. I'll happy with that. I imagine we're going to see a 1-2 bid. Oh. Demagogue bids 5. Kingsley bids 1. Now Demagogue is at risk of getting dishonored. I guess Meddling Mediator kind of protects him because she's honored and he can steal honor from Kingsley. Wow, this is going to be another really, really grindy turn for both players. I think with this board from the dragon, it's nearly impossible for Demagogue to break his stronghold. Nearly impossible. He just has to hold on with so little to protect it. Right, we do have Demagogue having the first attack opportunity here. It would probably not be amiss to see him go fire and try to get Yukuni dishonored. In fact, we do have seen one court games only from Kingsley, so I guess he can just re-honor him in a political conflict easily. It's whatever. This is still a very grindy board. It's going to be down to whoever makes the mistake, really. I imagine there's also probably a risk that Demagogue might just lose on decking himself. It is entirely possible that this game goes on for another 5 turns. Or less. If he draws more. And then just he decks himself and there's not enough honor. Huh. Yeah, I do agree with that, Sinchling. Demagogue beating 5 does indicate that he thinks he can end this. But I kind of struggle to see how, in a sense. Because if he goes void and lets go the Cloud of Mind to use Atsuko, Yukuni just copies Atsuko and does the same thing back. And if he goes militarily, I think Kingsley has definitely enough to defend, especially since Kingsley still has Banzais left in his deck, whereas Demagogue does not. And if he goes political, he has to be aware of the fact that this is an ancestral lands. That means he needs 12 political skill over Kingsley to break. And even with this board, I don't see that happening. Which means we're stuck in a situation where both players are trying to evaluate exactly what's going on, and it's just too many variables to think of, and there's no real closer for any of the characters. They don't have a big character with covert. They don't have a big bow anymore. They don't have a kill effect, really. This is probably going to go on for another 2 to 3 turns, unless someone fucks up. I really wish I had a co-caster right now, because it's hard to talk about what's going to happen because the board state is really complicated and both players haven't even really passed in the draw phase window. In fact, I'm gonna see if I... Yeah. Alright, so, finally, Kingsley is back. He has passed, and we go actually into the conflict phase proper. And we see a poke from Mia Mystic militarily. Alright, chat. This is extremely clever. This will force a defense from Kingsley that he does not wish to make. And if he do not defend, this Mia Mystic can suddenly become huge thanks to Supernatural Storm. Neat. I imagine... Right, so worst case scenario here for the Phoenix player is he plays Against the Waves to bow out to Doom Chigenya, then double Storms. And then Kingsley moves in a big character. Otherwise, I mean, he could just be happy to take the Water Ring and bow out this Neaten Master, and then the Neaten Master is gone. Which is nice. But we will see what happens. Kingsley does not want to expend a Banzai here. He might be forced to move in this Neaten Master just to get some use out of him rather than just get him bowed.
Scare me. Oh boy.
Thanks for the follow. I actually missed who you were because my phone is messing with me. But thank you so much for following. Right now it is not happening very much. Alright, so we do see a Banzai expended from Kingsley here to defend this conflict. This is potentially big. That means there's only one Banzai left in Kingsley's deck, and he might desperately need that to break himself. Yeah, I'm going to be honest here. It's getting a bit ridiculous with the length of this game. A bit ridiculous. It's been currently going on for 1 hour and 50 minutes. If they make it to 3 hours, I might have to get angry at them. For those that doesn't know, back in the good old core days, during the first Discord League, I and a guy called Shameful Display, that unfortunately doesn't stream anymore, casted one of Kingsley's game. I think it was the semifinals against Bill Jr. And I'll tell you right now, that game lasted for 3 hours and 15 minutes. It was not a pleasant experience near the 3 hour mark, I promise you that. Okay, we see a Cloud Mine, the last Cloud Mine from Demagogue, go down on Togashi Yokuni. And it's entirely possible that, in fact, I think it's entirely reasonable to... No, actually, wait, Kingsley only has 2 cards in hand. There could definitely be a Let Go in Kingsley's hand, although I also somewhat doubt it. So... Kingsley goes in with Neaten Master, and he has Ishkin Initiate and Shiva Peacemaker up on the opposing side. So, what I imagine will happen is Stronghold will be used for Kingsley. Then a Banzai will be used for Kingsley. Honestly, if this is the only things Demagogue defends with, I think Kingsley wins the game right here because he has a favorable ground. He can easily move in a Raitsugu or a Yukuni and just win militarily. Yeah, I don't think this defense is enough. 7 skill. Box. Okay, so Supernatural Storms may yet save Demagogue. Supernatural Storms might be key here. In order to not lose. So here's the reason. If Demagogue doesn't have Supernatural Storms here, it's very easy for Kingsley to just use Montezaville Castle, move in a big military character, and win. And that is not very good. So, let's just have a quick look. How many Chicaneers are actually in play? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Chicaneers in play. And possibility of removing attachments and stuff. We have 1 Mere Mystic. There could possibly a bunch of Let Goes in Demagogue's hand. You still have to consider that this is still 5 military strength if he moves in. Yeah. On the other hand, this Ishikane Initiate can easily get dueled off by Yukuni. If Yukuni... Oh, actually, he has Cloud to mine him. Ignore that. This Ishikane Initiate can be dueled off by Raitsugu, if Raitsugu is moved in. Or if Kingsley has a Let Go, he could have removed... he could remove the Cloud and then duel off the Ishikane Initiate from this board. That at least 2 skill, which equals the Mystic discarding an Ancestral Daisho. These players are really good at sort of like figuring out how much they should attack or defend with. I think this is a mistake from Kingsley here. I don't think he actually has enough skill to break. I think he needs a Banzai and a Let Go to break here. We know there are no military buffs for the Phoenix player except Supernatural Storm. There are, however, military debuffs potential. 1 here, Mia Mystic. 1 of the Daishos, gone. Another potential debuff is double Let Go. That's still live. No, actually, only 1 Let Go. So that's 1 more Daisho. So -4. And Demagogue actually plays against the waves to bow Yukuni. Alright. Does Kingsley have his own against the waves to counter this? Does Kingsley have his own against the waves to counter this? If not, I can instead see the reverse happen and Phoenix breaking politically. How much does he have politically? 3, 7. Oh, we do see the last against the waves on Yukuni. Rally to the Coast is currently breaking. Now, Demagogue needs to have Supernatural Storm. Massive mind games here. Did he undercommit on defense? That's the question. What? That's it! Demagogue passed. And that's the game. Oh, wow. I was for sure that he was going to waste a Mystic getting rid of a Daisho, but that just gets countered by the Mountains and Castle. Supernatural Storms, where were they? Are there none more in his hand? Holy shit. That was a really cool game. Just bringing in the Radiant Orator. Just having the Orator in this conflict would have been enough. Yeah, so Demagogue did undercommit slightly. He was counting on Kingsley not having the last against the waves. Wow. Just wow. Otherwise, if he leaves this conflict, alright. So, how does he leave this conflict? Mystic -2, Stronghold +2. Yeah, he should have defended with Mediator probably. So that's still breaking. If he has a let go, boom, that's enough to stop the break. If he has the last card, yeah. The Meddling Mediator, yeah, potentially. Could have defended as well. And then he could have had 3 more military strength. If that's a Banzai, Kingsley definitely had this. There's no more conflict characters because he only has 1 fate. All his conflict character cost 2. Wow. Yeah, I'm also curious. I mean, we didn't know, like, both players kind of knew that all 3 katanas are gone. No, only 2 katanas? Yes. All 3 katanas are gone because 1 is in play here. And all 3 Banzai are gone. 1 Storm is gone. Furies doesn't do anything anymore because, you know, all provinces flipped. A let go. So Kingsley could have let go the Cloud of Mind, copied Retsugo, jeweled off the Ishiken Initiate from this conflict. And -2. Yeah, I understand why Kingsley immediately moved in Yukuni. As exactly... There's no combination of cards that Demagogue could have had to stop this. Actually, there is. Demagogue needed to have Storm and Let Go. Oh yeah, he could. Oh, that's very true. Let Go, copy Orator, and send home the Peacemaker. Oh, that would have been clutch as well. Wow, that was actually a pretty phenomenal ending. And oh, it's so dangerous undercommitting on a defense when it's your stronghold. Yeah. Wow. Dragon prevails in this Flashback Cup games. Really close here in the end. I think if the Phoenix managed to hold this conflict, this particular conflict, he can swing back and break Ancestral Lands on political. But it was not to be. The Dragon won. And he had a very strong last 2 cards that would indeed have helped him win this conflict with this... with this little committing from, with his committing from the Phoenix player here. He thought he had enough to bow out Yukuni with the Against the Waves, but Kingsley had the last Against the Waves to ready back up. Actually, a fantastic ending to the game. Such sneaky mind games. Super sneaky mind games going on. That favorable ground basically won the game for Kingsley. Oh. Fantastic stuff. So, this game has been going on for pretty much exactly 2 hours. I'm getting a bit tired. Thank you everyone that watched this. Thank you all of you guys that followed. And I'll see you next time.